Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. We're going into the final game of Flash versus Bisu. We're going to see if maybe he can clean up some of this. I don't know if he's going to continue to go gasless. I bet you that Bisu just goes for a zealot, like right off the bat, maybe a quicker scout too. Or, I mean, if not one of those, then a Nexus first, right? Any of that stuff is going to be very, very reasonable against Gasless Expand. Like, the Gasless Expand, what it really wants to hit is Dragoon. If you go Dragoon first, Gasless Expand is ahead. So, yeah, that's kind of what I would like to see here. And any alterations from Flash on this, it's like, he's going for the exact same thing so often. And it's like, in some of these games, I'm definitely seeing improvements that he's making. Like, I really liked the set of 2 games for DeWalt, but I haven't felt the same way during the Bisu series. And obviously, Bisu's a lot stronger than DeWalt and everything, so that could be part of it. But I feel like we haven't seen him being like, okay, we're going to fix this one thing, and suddenly it's better, right? Like, it's kind of like, okay, doing the same thing. This time, a Reaver comes, slows me down. Uh-oh, things are going bad. Now, this setup looks like it's going to be a factory expansion, and we shall see about that. I see the timing of this scout. He's going to make a zealot as well, and the zealot's probably going to walk to the north. So it's actually very fortuitous that Flash is going for a factory expansion. So this is a little bit of like the mind games going on here. Now let's see if he makes a zealot right away. He might just go really quick cybernetic score. Okay, really quick cybernetic score. Does he make that zealot? No, doesn't look like it. Yeah, he could have fitted in right after that probe and then made this probe just in time. So he's skipping the zealot. Okay, well, this would have been the good time for Flash to go for the gasless then. You know, the thing is, when the probe scouts quickly, it doesn't 100% of the time mean a zealot. But if the probe doesn't scout quickly, then there's probably not a zealot. Okay, so it's like kind of like a one-way thing. Now, Flash scouts Bisu first, sees that there is no zealot popping out. He's just watching as this finishes. Sometimes it's lined up perfectly. Doesn't come out. He knows no zealot. He's going to be very safe to do whatever he wants from here. And in fact, he takes all SCVs off the gas, which is not super common in this matchup. It's more common in Taran versus Taran. Interesting to see that. And look, he lifts on 1 Marine. He lifts the barrack and starts sending it down. That might mean that he wants to go for a very quick bunker down here as opposed to 2 more Marines. And notice how he left the SCV in here. The reason he left the SCV was to get the goon to chase it. Now, if Bisu had right-clicked the Dragoon up here, Flash would have had to very quickly land this and start a bunker right away. So Flash has basically given up this SCV. This SCV is going to get caught and killed, almost certainly. Like, maybe there's a world in which it gets out if Bisu doesn't use his probe right. Oh, there you go. There you go. He's got it. Okay, so he will end up getting this, but, you know, that can be a sacrifice that you make, right? Where he's just, like, not making anything. He is pushing this as far as it can go in the area of greed. Now, the Dragoon sits at home. This has taken long enough that I think he's afraid of a Vulture coming down. This is funny because the Vulture, you know, obviously it is out on the map, and if that gets in, you're in a huge amount of trouble. So keeps that first Dragoon at home. Flash reading this perfectly. Do not do this at home, guys. If you're playing on the ladder and you try this, I guarantee you just about every Protoss in the world is going to kill you. But this is an optimization at the very, very top of the game. Even in S rank, you can just die trying something like this. Sometimes they'll just right-click the goon at you and you're like, oops, I lose. Because, like, if you don't have, when a Dragoon gets there, either 2 Marines and a Vulture or 3 Marines, you're like, super screwed. Because fighting one at a time, Dragoons can kill, like, infinity. But you need the critical mass at the start. So, another Vulture comes out. He is getting mines. This one's very, very low, so keeps that far back. Does not want to lose that. Probably wants to lay the mines and then go back and repair it. And a quick armory. No big surprise there. Honestly, this is one of the very best things you can do. You don't actually have that many options, right? after factory, with a factory expansion, you can go Academy, which is super rare. You can go Armory, which is super common. You can go Factory, which is super common. And then Starport, which is somewhat uncommon. Right? That's it. That's like, those are your choices. Well, I guess that would be like every building. So I guess it is kind of a lot of choices. But like, the builds all play out very differently. And this is the most standard, most solid of them, is just going Factory. I mean, Armory. And then the next Factory. So he should be starting eBay right about now. And he is laying some mines here very defensively. This is for DTs. If there just happens to be a DT that walks up, notice the path. Just kind of blocking this third base and blocking the route to his base as well. Several mines on that path. So going to be very hard to kill him with a DT. Bisu, of course, over here going 2-gate range. Probably will just make his third Nexus very quickly here. The Vultures all kind of jot down to that bottom right side. They don't have speed or anything, but what he's looking here is he's waiting for a probe to walk over these mines, or even Dragoons to come up. If he sends Dragoons to clear these mines, then he knows that a probe is right after it. And if he sends a probe first, hoping there's not mines, then he just goes in and snipes it. So that's what those Vultures are doing, sitting there. The first observer going across the map to try to check what's going on Flash's side. Siege mode is on the way. A Goliath coming out here as well. Even if you're not doing the Goliath build, you do want at least one Goliath. And he is doing the Goliath build. We can see he has 2 more Goliaths start up. So that is going to be his anti-air here once again. And there's that pre-7-minute command center. Oh my gosh. Well, you know, he's seeing... Okay, this game's actually going to be much more interesting to me than like the previous few games against Bisu, right? Because this is a factory expansion. He's still getting this older timing of the very, very fast third. And Bisu saw the timing of this third as well. So he knows exactly what's going on. Now, when I see him put down a forge like this tells me I don't think he's going to try anything too crazy. He's just going to kind of go forward with his build. But the fact that Flash is making that command center means he has plenty of time to do things like get an upgrade. There's just no attacks that can possibly come in from Flash. So we have the Starport and third factory start about the same time. eBay on the way. The slow Vulture's just still kind of walking around the map a little bit. And look at this, a 4th Nexus instantly as well. So this is actually very reminiscent of one of the games against DeWalt, right? Where Flash is making a 3rd command center, and it's like, oh, you're going 3rd command center? Well, 100% I can go for another Nexus. So he's going to be on 4 bases mining, probably around the same time Flash is on 3 mining. Well, he's floating it right now, and Bisu isn't up here, so I take that back. This one's going to be a little bit later. But still, that's a very, very fast 4 bases. He's adding gateways afterwards for safety. And then it's up to Bisu, right? Like, he could play like just a heavier unit 4-base game, but it doesn't make sense, right? And we've talked about this a lot. Like, you can bring all of your units forward, bomb in with a shuttle, try to get some of the units to go deal with that, and then use your other group of units to try to hit the front, right? That is a possibility here. What I would like to see, and I've talked about this quite a bit before in these casts, you're probably becoming a little bit tired of this, is you take that 5th base, right? You kind of get your macro going a little bit. You don't want to be too greedy, but you take that 5th base. You're playing right now against 3 factories. A 3-factory upgrade Taran on 3 command centers. Like, this is as stretched thin as you can get, but there's just no possibility for an attack. So a 2nd robo comes up, he scans there, he sees the 2nd robo, he knows speed shuttles, he knows basically what's going on here. The probes all being sent to that 5th base location. Bisu's still on a very light amount of gates at 6. You know, just the extents to which you can greed against Flash's type of play is very startling. You see he's adding a lot more missile turrets now. Okay, so we really do see some evolution here in Flash's play that I didn't feel like we were looking at as much in the previous game. He's adding a ton of missile turrets because he knows that this bombing in with the shuttles is one of the best moves. And what is one of the main things I've been saying is Flash hasn't been laying mines in his in his main base to help counteract this. This time, he is. Chills. All right. Excellent. This is exactly what we want to see. Flash is doing a very good job now. Templar Archives on the way. Getting ready as well for that 5th Nexus. I think this is like superb play from Bisu. Flash is only on 5 facts. Like, he still has this great window to just make everything perfect for himself. Bisu does, right? Plenty of speed shuttles, plenty of observers, plenty of high Templars with Storm. Get some upgrades on your ground units, right? Get those 5 bases up in mining. And the thing is, once you have 5 bases, I'm always saying this, right? The 3 base Taran has to either attack or expand. And there it is, expand. So 5th base, 4th base. Here goes Bisu now. Going to dive into this natural, dropping a ton of zealots out there. All right, gets a pretty good shot with that Scarab. Gets a few SCVs there for sure. Oh, God. Oh, God, that was a huge shot. And a very good shot there, too. Don't try to shoot the retreating SCVs. Never works. 10 kills, 11 kills on this Reaver right now. Yeah, this Reaver is so annoying to deal with. At this point, you might want to start a Wraith. My God. Bringing up some anti-air here. The Goliath will help to put an end to this finally. Well, it's still up here. We can't see it, but trust me, it's still there. There we go. Yeah, Bisu doesn't really care. Whatever. Okay. So, now that that is done, the big bombing that we were talking about, that we were kind of getting ready for this entire time, now that that's occurred, we have to look at this position closely. 55 to 65 workers. So Bisu has a perfect amount of workers right now to keep this kind of shuttle-intensive style going. Lots of High Templars, lots of Zealots, lots of shuttles. Okay, he's adding more gates, and he should make even more. Yeah, more gates going up over here. Being careful with this set of probes as it's being sent over. Looks like a few did get picked off. Flash right now. Okay, well, he's going up to 7 factories. 7 factories is a good amount to have while you're taking your 4th, and then you should go up to more. His SCV count does need a little bit more there as well, and he's going to have to set up that very defensive area in here, right? Depots, some turrets, mines all over the place. So then he'll have this area to defend, and he'll have this area to defend. Bisu right now just kind of clearing some of the center. Throwing down another Nexus because he can. He's maxed out. You may as well. Right, if you're maxed out and you're not just about to attack, I think it's great for Protoss to throw down an additional Nexus, maybe a couple cannons around, right? Make things even harder for Taran at that point. There's no reason not to. Legs not done yet on these Zealots, so the attack is not incoming. And he's definitely missing any sort of maxed timing attack, right? So this is actually getting very interesting, guys. Because, you know, it's when you're playing against a 200 supply Protoss, you need 140 supply split well for Taran, okay? It needs to be like sieged. It needs to be in a good defensive position, but you can hold. Now, he's having to defend 2 spots. The 140 is at 1 spot. Here with 2 spots, it's a little bit different, but this is so choked, you can't really put a 200 supply army through here. You check it, and as soon as you see something like this, you're like, no, this is not going to happen. Bisu, by the way, getting ready for more Nexuses all over the place. And this is the next thing that you can kind of do to pressure Taran, right? So it's 4 base versus 5 base, but he's taking another one. The pressure point at this point is the other main. When Protoss is taking the other main, a 3 main base Protoss should always be able to win. Look at this, 4 Stargates in the way, +1, another cybernetics core for those upgrades. So now Flash, you know, that's going to be a clock between the other main being taken and carrier production getting ready. Not that carriers are on the way, but getting ready. Notice he is adding in some Goliaths right now. And now it's all about how you push, because there's going to be Psystorm, Zealot Bombs, Speed Zealots running in, trying to drag things, drag mines in there. 3-2 is almost done here. We already have 2-1 for Bisu. He is getting some Plasma Shield upgrades now as opposed to any others to go along with those carriers a little bit. This is building up to like a very, very powerful moment in this game. Now, does Flash try to push this way? It does look like that's what it is, right? He's pulled most of his defense from this area. He's putting down extra turrets to make it hard to see. Now, this would be maybe a good time to attack because he's on the mines. Like, if he bombs in there and just drops out zealots on top of everything, super strong. Okay, see, he's trying to do that, but I think you actually need to do it with more than one. I think if you do that with 3 shuttles, all the mines go off and just a lot of stuff blows up. So I do feel like that is a missed opportunity and something we should see more often. So pulling back, he's getting probes up to the top right. Lots of cannons up there just to slow Flash down from trying to kill that. Flash with another command center. We now have 9 factories, which is really good. Flash on 3 too. Carriers have been started. So the clock is on. 3 is not scary. 3 is okay. You can deal with 3. He's got to go, though. Now, Bisu, I feel like this is more about stalling for Bisu. His main army is not actually going to beat this army. It's not going to occur. Even if he hits 4 great size storms or even 6, 7, 8 great size storms, maybe up at there. If they're 6, 7, 8 great size storms will literally kill anything. But you know what I mean, right? Like, his army is much smaller because he's in the carrier transition, right? This is 24 supply that he has over here. So when you add that to the probe count, it's like, okay, yeah, the army is not actually that big. Flash pushing down. It seems like he's found his exact timing this game. See, the shuttle's threatening to come in. He's trying to whittle it down a little bit with the size storms. This is the hard thing about going into carriers. Gonna drop out more zealots over here. Oh god, he has to back up when all these siege up. Just so much damage output from these siege tanks. Yeah, it looks like Flash is going to break this base easily and this base easily. The first carriers are coming out. Bisu's got to make sure that he's still making a lot of gateway units here as well. His supply is very small. He's not spending his money at the moment. You can see the cost efficiency here of Flash. Look at that. Bigger bank right now than Bisu. Lands that 5th command center over at 12 o'clock. That's actually really important. That's going to give him a lot of extra gas that he's going to need for his Goliath tank production. Getting into a position here. He does have +3 armor on the way as well. All right, some decent storms. It's almost time to show the carriers. He just needs to get interceptors at this point. Yeah, still making them right now. 5 more carriers on the way. Lots of Goliaths are starting to come down. He does have some more size storms in here. Okay, throwing some storms down. Okay, very good, very good. Clearing some of them. He can't lose this bottom right base. This bottom right base is where all the Stargates are. So if he loses that, Flash probably will just run away with the game. All right, getting in here, sieging up a little bit. My gosh, this is like, if these were all full interceptor, he would be able to kill all this really quickly, but unable to do so. He's like sitting here building a bunch of interceptors, right? 7, 8 interceptors being built at a time. So that means like every carrier's not full. And now the Goliath's pushing them out. He's getting on top of the Stargates. He's picking off the ones that are coming out now. Flash's revenge against carriers. And this is bad, right? Because this is where the Stargates are. This is why this is terrible. Like, losing this base is not always going to be the end of the game. Like, let's say all the Stargates were here. Well, he'd have like 8 carriers right now. Instead, poor Bisu, well, poor Bisu, he's making carriers. Nothing poor about him. He's got 5, right? But he would have 8 or 9 right now, I want to say. Like, he would have enough carriers that this game would be insanely close. He's going to GG. Not too surprised. Like, Flash is just kind of roaming the map, making sure that he can't do anything. Massive, massive upgrades. getting ready to kill these other bases, right? Bisu has up here and here, but no way to defend either of those. So Flash finally gets his revenge on the carriers. All right. At the end of the day, definitely we saw Bisu play better overall than Flash, I think. In fact, even this game, I felt like Bisu was doing a very good job, but Flash really hit that timing during the transition to carriers, and that's very, very important. All right. So that about does it. That was Flash versus Bisu. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.